All right, Carolyn, let's check out some of your second run Stratton GS. I put you up here side by side with the race winner, Henrietta. Hopefully that helps us to visualize a bit. I know we haven't worked on a lot of starts. You're fairly new at this. But, we will work on some starts in the near future just to help you out. Obviously, the wand here. You don't the timer doesn't start until you trigger that, move that. So what she does is try to get herself into the course momentum before actually hitting it. She kind of lifts her feet up, and we'll go over this more. Not terribly important right now, but just to give you a visual, we call it kick start, and you're going to kind of just fall into the course. But that's not really the purpose of this right now. One other thing, we want to make sure we're kind of reaching forward and having a bigger and stronger push off. Your hands go and your poles go down to your feet, so it's not a lot of leverage you're using to pole and skate. But more importantly right now, let's talk about just our technique. I know you're working on not popping up as much in the transition. We've talked about that, so I think you're now, maybe you're thinking you got to stay low all the time, which you really don't. Obviously, you can see her upper body a little more erect and comfortable. You're kind of really hunched over. Hard to really get the feet out from beneath us. Hard to pressure the ski when you're, kind of hunched over. So let's make sure we're not popping up, but at the same time, not really hunching over through the turn. We've been talking about with you a lot, trying to get really level, trying to produce angles and get level shoulders by the panel. That's something we still have to work on. You can see her come through here and being quite level. You can see you, kind of not so level. Inside hand much lower, outside hand much higher, kind of tipping in. That'll be the general theme probably here, just talking about, trying to get level, trying to move the hands forward to the turn. Let's get you up to where she is. So, fairly similar at the top of the turn, right? And that's what we call inclination. We're going to kind of move forward and inside and be almost appearing as if we're, leaning in at the top of the turn, but our weight is going to be, at this point, still on our outside ski. But what the big difference is you have to do then is level by the panel. You have to change your body position. So you have to get to the point as the turn develops that we're level by the panel, that we're strong on the outside ski and producing these kind of angles. And that is how we pressure the outside ski. And you just sort of hang there a little bit. You're hanging, and you maintain that kind of still, inclination. Outside hand's much higher than the inside one. So we're not really level. We're not really strong on that outside ski. So we can't bend it. So the arc lengthens. So you kind of drift a little lower than her because we're not on that outside ski. So you're taking a lower line, potentially have to hook up a bit underneath right here to regain some elevation to get up. And then maybe that's why you were fighting to get up high enough here. You can see your hand way back and not really in balance at the top of the turn here. Where she's, very well balanced throughout this turn. And again, you're starting off the turn really well. That's a great position. It's just a question of whether you level it out through here. And, those hands just never really move. We've got to drive that outside hand this arm forward, down the hill, out over the outside ski, trying to help us, get into a position of producing more angles. If you want to talk, like we've been saying, we want to be bending like a banana, and we're too much just in that position. Oops. So here's one of those situations where you did come in and really pop up. We want to avoid this really tall through the transition, so you kind of light at the top of the turn now. You popped up, took weight off the skis, and kind of sliding that whole top of the turn there. She keeps a much lower profile through the transition and puts pressure at the top of the turn. And I can't see her, but brings some shape back and is very level by the panel. You see her down there, where you're obviously not. Here's a situation where I think you're just a little impatient. Here's more of a line issue but you came in here and we started making this turn way too early before we got to rise line. And started skidding. I think you realize you have nowhere to go except skid by the gate. Kind of drop the hands. We really we don't want our hands by our side at the top of the turn, but you see where hers are. But she got herself, intersecting rise line where the ski's pointing way out and away from the pole. Brought some really nice shape back to it. Nice and balanced and level. And I think as you're skidding, you were again leaning in a bit, but I'm going to move those arms forward. We got to drive both hands. Both hands got to be driven forward, and the outside one particularly, out over the downhill ski, down the hill, out, trying to help us produce some angles and level. So that's going to be the gist here. I mean, I don't think we need to look too much further, but take a look down here at yours in particular just to see. And again, you can see kind of orientation is going to be outside hand higher than the inside hand. So we're kind of like that. We need the opposite. Same idea there. We're going to kind of lose you here, at least ability to see. You see there, hands by our sides going past the pole, drive them forward. So anyway, let's work on that. We've been working already. We're not popping up as much in the transition. That's good. We have nice inclination at the top of the turn, but we have to actually actively level by the panel. We got to change our body position, reducing those angles, getting level shoulders, driving the hands forward, and the outside hand in particular, out over the downhill ski, down the hill. So we are balanced on it. So what can you do? Outside of the gates, well, do some slopies, free ski, picking up the inside ski. If you're putting down the inside ski, if you have to put it down, you're tipping in, and you got to correct that. So you got to be aware of whether you're tipping in or not, whether your outside hand is higher than the inside. You really got to up your awareness of your body and see if you can correct it in your skiing. Let's work on it.